The order of results. To understand the order of results, we must first understand what an antecedent is. An antecedent, from logic, is a statement contained in the quote, if, end quote, clause of a conditional proposition, right? So it's like an if then proposition. And I want to talk about briefly what this means for our spiritual life, but particularly what it means for like our results. If we are trying to get in shape and build a stronger and more capable body, we need to understand antecedents, and we need to understand the order of results. So I want to share something with you. I was going through the readings the other day. We're in the I think we're the first week of Lent. So during the Lenten season, we're going through our own spiritual journey, our own desert journey, and the goal is to have an interior transformation, ultimately to become a better man, husband, and father. And this was from Isaiah a couple days back. And Isaiah says, so context, the Jews are complaining. They're like, Lord, we are fasting. Why don't you see it? You know, we're fasting. Why don't you see it? We're offering these sacrifices, yet you take no note of it, right? So what they're doing is they're coming from a place of imprudence. They're not offering their sacrifices from right reason. They're seeking their own will. They're seeking a means to their own end. And that's not the right disposition to bring our sacrifices to God. As Isaiah moves down, he says, look, God is speaking through Isaiah, and he says, look, this is rather the fasting that I wish. Release those bound unjustly, untying the thongs of the yoke, setting free the oppressed, breaking every yoke, sharing your bread with the hungry, et cetera, sheltering the homeless, so on and so forth. And then he starts to say, look, when you do these things, then you'll be vindicated. Then you can call on the Lord and he will answer, right? So that's kind of the context there. So what I begin to hear there is God is inviting us and calling us to die to ourselves. The world today tells you to trust in yourself. The world today tells you to, self-care and all this nonsense, when in reality, those are rooted in pride, okay? And they are seeking a means to their own end, seeking happiness, fulfillment, meaning as a means to their own end. And so what God's inviting us here during the Lenten season is to die to ourselves, to put others' needs before our own, and then we'll rise. And this is a very difficult thing to do, right? I haven't perfected this. In no way am I here preaching like, oh, you need to go feed the home. Like, yeah, we need to do those things from the right place. But that's the challenge, right? That's where discipline comes in, and that's where self-sacrifice kind of comes into play. So many people are, this is what we, in the academy, this is what we call the soul chasing life. We are chasing happiness through happiness, fulfillment, you name it. We're chasing that in the finite things of the world. We're working out just because we feel like, well, if I lose weight, if I get jacked or whatever, I'll be happy or I'll have more confidence. When at the end of the day, that's not really going to do it, because those things are all finite, right? They're temporary. So this is what we call the soul chasing life. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what it does is it just drives you further into what we call the toxic cycle, which is this vortex that you get trapped in, and you're chasing your own happiness. At the end of the day, it's just not going to make you happy, okay? So as Isaiah continues on, he starts to reveal several antecedents that God is presenting. And so God says, this is Isaiah 58, I believe, Isaiah 58:9. God says, look, if you remove from your midst oppression, false accusations, malicious speech, if you bestow your bread on the hungry, right? Like, if you do these things, then the Lord will guide you and your ways will be plentiful. Like, he'll renew your strength, etc. And then he continues down in verse 13. He says, if you hold back your foot on the Sabbath from following your own pursuits on my holy day, if you call the Sabbath a delight and the Lord's holy day honorable, if you honor. So he's like, if, like when you do these things, and he says, then you shall delight in the Lord, and I will make you ride on the heights of the earth, right? So God is presenting us with antecedents. He's like, look, if you do this, then I will do this. I've been going back and forth with my daughter trying to teach her discipline and, keeping up after her room and doing these things. And, obviously as a kid, they're not doing the things that we ask them to do. It's just part of being a kid. But then they ask for all these other things like, can we go do this? Can we do that? And my responses of late have been, look, only when you do what I want you to do will I do what it is that you want, what you want. And that's kind of what God's telling us there in Isaiah. And so what does this mean for you? Why am I sharing this with you? Like, why should you even care? Well, at the end of the day, this is what we would call the order of results, right? So God is displaying, look, if you do X, then I will do Y, right? So this is an order, number one, spiritually, this is an order of obedience, right? If we obey the Lord and follow his commandments and precepts, then he'll fulfill like our desires. Then we will, attain happiness, et cetera, et cetera. But if we don't do them, things don't turn out well. So this is also the order of results, right? So think of your results as if results were a parent, right? If they were a person or a parent, your results are telling you the same thing. If your goal is weight loss, pressing half your body weight or learning Jiu-Jitsu or like whatever that is, whatever that result that is that you're chasing, if your results told you, look, if you do X, then I will do Y. I will do what you want when you do what I want. So at the end of the day, it's a choice spiritually to obey God or not. It's a choice from the natural perspective. It's the choice to follow the plan or not follow the plan. And if you choose not to follow the plan, to do the work, then you can't be upset with the end results that you have. Right? You can't be upset with the results you have for the work that you didn't do. And that's the sacrifice. Right? Loving God, following the training plan, following the diet, like those require daily discipline. And it's a choice to do those or not do those. I was going through my rosary the other day, and where I was praying the fourth glorious mystery, and they have like a little prayer there, and like even just some insights on that moment in that life of Christ. And it said, in the beginning we make our choice, in the end our choices make us. So if you want to see results, it comes down to a choice. It comes down to the antecedent, to the order of results. If you do X, then I, i.e. your results, I will do Y. That's all I got for you today, man. Appreciate you watching. See you on the next one. Peace.